So the key message is that if you are an EU citizen living in the UK, you and your family must apply for settled status if you want to continue living here in the UK from the 1st of July 2021. So that date has been put back significantly. We have since had negotiations regarding the transitional period and their effect, and additional time has been given, including beyond the transitional period. So we're going to actually come to the chronology, and I'll explain that in a moment. So what we're going to do is initially just go through the stages. What do you have to do to qualify for settled status? So the first criteria for qualifying for settled status is that you are an EU citizen. You must be an EU citizen or a family member of an EU citizen. Now, as for those EEA but non-EU member states, so Liechtenstein, Norway and Iceland, negotiations at the time of recording this are ongoing. I imagine the outcome is likely to be the same, but that's yet to be confirmed. But the test at the moment is that you must be an EU citizen or a family member of an EU citizen. So the UK forms part of the European Economic Area, of which there are the EU member states and also the EFTA states, European Free Trade Area states of Iceland, Norway and Liechtenstein. Switzerland also forms part of the single market, although it's not within the EU or EEA. So the position is that you'll need to be an EU national at the time you apply for settled status. At the time of recording, the position of those from Iceland, Norway and Liechtenstein is not currently known. Negotiations are ongoing. The second aspect of the test is you must have continuous residence in the UK. So in other words, you must have been living in the UK continuously for 5 years. If not, though, you may qualify for pre-settled status. And the idea there is that if you qualify for pre-settled status, you'll be granted 5 years, and then within that further 5-year period, you'll be able to accrue 5 years within the UK, and at that point you can apply for full settled status. So the residence requirements are going to be relatively generous in that you can have up to 180 days per year absence, and continuity of leave will not be broken, so the clock will not be reset. So what this means is you'll have to have been in the UK for at least 6 months in each of those 5 years, except for one period of up to 12 months for an important reason, for example to work or study, or indeed compulsory military service. Okay, so in part 2 of this series we're going to have a look at the other aspects you need to consider before applying for settled status. We're going to look at some examples as well, practical examples, 3 individuals, and the position of Irish nationals, and what the position is in relation to permanent residents. So do you need to apply for settled status if you have permanent residence, and some other topics. So click on the link following to see part 2 of this series. Many thanks.